What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another DFS episode of the FD Guru, and I'm obviously going to be talking about tonight's MLB slate tonight. But before we jump into anything, just make sure you're entered in on my NFL giveaway today. I'm announcing the winners tonight. If you retweet, you enter yourself in for a free cash season. And if you like the tweet, you enter yourself in for a free GPP season. So thought I'd just throw that announcement out there before we get into things and make sure you guys get in that giveaway before I announce the winners. I think I said 8 o'clock tonight I'm going to be doing it, so tune in then. It's a really good value. There's a ton of lineups in that total times the 16 weeks. It's kind of tough to choose from. There's a couple of really good studs out there. There's also some weather concerns. Cincinnati at Washington is looking like a sketchy spot, along with Miami at Philadelphia. So Philly and Washington are the two games in rain trouble tonight, so I wouldn't pick any pitchers in that game, even though both games aren't really featuring pitchers to pick anyways. I mean, you got Velasquez against Richards. Those are two shitty pitchers right there, and then you got Gio against DeSclafani. So that really doesn't screw anything up as far as this slate goes, because these two games really just aren't that great. But for the first game tonight, you got Archer at Archer against Gant. I think that's how you and Archer's a pretty big favorite in this game. It's his debut for the Pirates. He is a pretty big favorite here, and the Pirates find themselves in a pretty good spot hitting-wise because Gant isn't that great of a pitcher. Vegas has this game at a 8 over-under, and the Pirates are pretty favored. So a Pirate stack isn't too bad for a GPP play here. I wouldn't recommend any cash plays in this game, but if you want to look at like an Adam Frazier leading off tonight for the Pirates, 2,200, you can definitely go that route. He'll be very low owned. And any guy that's leading off for a team that should score some runs that low is definitely a good tournament play, along with Colin Moran at 2,200 as well. I'd say Adam Frazier and Colin Moran are the two GPP plays in this game. As far as everyone else goes, I'm not really looking at anyone. No Cardinals against Archer. You're just putting yourself in a difficult spot when you don't need to. I'm going to skip the two rain games. You got the White Sox at Tampa Bay. You got Giolito against Stanek. The Rays just constantly have bullpen games at this point. They're kind of just giving up. It's pretty pathetic. You really can't pick any of the Bay where there's normally a low total due to the pitcher's park. But with such bad pitchers going on tonight, this game features a pretty high over-under total. The Rays are in a really good spot. They're expected to tag Giolito pretty well. Vegas likes the Rays. There's some pretty good value Rays going on tonight. You got Ji-Man Choi, 2,300. He's in a pretty good spot, batting fifth. He'll have that lefty-righty matchup. Definitely a GPP play. Matt Duffy's in a good spot. He's been hitting the ball very well all year. 2,900 batting second. Can't go wrong here. He's batting 306. Again, Giolito's been terrible this year. 6.26 ERA. Definitely a guy you want to pick on tonight. Rays make for a pretty good GPP stack. I would say no cash plays in this game either, though. There's really one main cash game tonight that's pretty obvious. It's going to make for a lot of chalky plays, and we're going to be coming up to that soon, so I'll make sure you guys are aware of which game that is. Just trying to pull up my video right now on my phone so I can check any chats. New York at Boston. This has a low-key high total here. You have Severino against Porcello. Both of these pitchers can be outstanding, so I don't really see the need to pick any bats in this game. They're all pretty highly priced. Maybe if you want to roll with Steve Pearce again coming off of that 3-home run game, I don't hate that at 2,900. I had him last night. He was only 10% owned. So he makes for a pretty good GPP play just because he's coming into this game with a lot of confidence. And Severino's in a pretty tough environment in Fenway Park. So you never know if he could get blown up. Steve Pearce in a really good spot tonight. Could definitely make for a GPP play here. There's not really anyone else I'm looking at here. Maybe Ian Kinsler batting 5th, 3,100, not a bad price there. But everyone else is pretty highly priced. I really don't see a chalk play to any stretch here. Benintendi's pretty low at 3,800. He's been hot. He's normally a guy you see over 4,000, so that's not a bad play either there against Severino. But again, both of these pitchers can be very good. I'm not looking to roster either pitcher just because it's a tough environment to pitch in, but they can be good at times, making it tough to pick any bats from this game. You got Clevinger against Barria for this next game here. Clevinger's a huge favorite. The Indians are expected to score a bunch off Barria. The Indians are a minus 260 favorite, making the Indians a pretty good stack here. Clevinger could even be a GPP play here just because he's such a high favorite. Yes, it's a high total, but it's looking like Clevinger should get in line for the win in this game, and he's not too expensive. The only reason I'm kind of shaky about it is the Angels are a really good hitting team. They can really light up the scoreboard at any time, so I'm not really looking to pick Clevinger, especially at 9,500, but he could be a decent GPP play. As far as the bats go, there's not much value here. Jose Ramirez and Lindor are obviously in good spots, but they're really expensive. Simmons, not a bad play, but I could look elsewhere. There's just better plays on this slate. This game doesn't feature much here, so I'm just going to really move on. The only real play here is possibly Clevinger as a GPP play. Atlanta at the Mets. DeGrom makes for a really good play tonight. The only thing that's a little sketchy is there's some spotty showers around Citi Field tonight in the reports I read about an hour ago. It's not looking like a rain out here, but it's looking like there's possible delays. And if you're spending a ton on DeGrom, it's really tough to be worrying about delays when you pick a good pitcher. So I'm going to have to look more into that as we get closer to lock. But DeGrom, not looking at the weather, is in an awesome spot tonight against the Braves. He's a huge favorite. But remember, DeGrom being a huge favorite doesn't necessarily mean he's going to get the win. The Mets do a really bad job scoring runs for him. And Sanchez has been pretty good, surprisingly, all year since he's come up. He's been stringing together a lot of great games. Didn't have that great of a game last game. But if you look at his game log, he's been pretty solid. He goes 6 innings deep, at least every start almost. So I'm not loving the DeGrom for the sole factor that the Mets might not even score runs off of Sanchez. So, and the rain makes it a little sketchy. But if there's no rain issues, DeGrom definitely makes for a good cash game pitcher tonight. And this brings us to the best game of the night, guys. If you know anything about DFS, if you have any idea of what you're doing, you know that this is the cash game play 100% here tonight. You got Ariel Gerardo against David Hess. This game has a huge total of 11.5. You could pick anyone on either side here in this game. They're all very fair priced. Shin-Soo Choo is a must play here at 3,100. You're going to see his ownership at over 70% tonight, along with Joey Gallo, 2,700 batting 5th. He's just in too good of a spot tonight in the hot Arlington environment. He should hit a home run, probably have a chance of hitting 2 tonight against David Hess with the lefty-righty matchup. He had a great game yesterday, going 3 for 5 with a double, a home run, 2 RBIs. So expect similar numbers from him tonight. There's supposed to be a lot of runs in this game. Expect both bullpens to be active early on. Even Mark Trumbo and Adam Jones are in good spots at 3K and under. Andrus is the only expensive guy really in this game. Tim Beckham's a good play at 3,100. Basically, any batter on either team in this game batting 5th or better is a viable cash game play. Adrian Beltre is going to be very high owned tonight as well, batting cleanup only 2,700. Odor's in a pretty good spot. Jonathan VR, probably the best cash game play in this game, along with Shin-Soo Choo. VR leading off. Against the righty only 2,400. You really have to roster him. He's gonna get 5 at bats most likely. He's gonna be on base a couple times. He has the chance to steal. VR's got to be locked in on all fronts tonight, with him only being 2,400. And then you could even look at Chris Davis as a GPP play. I know he has a terrible average, But at 2,500 with his home run upside, you got to throw him in a couple tournament lineups. You would just be silly not to do that just because he's got that chance of going yard once, maybe even twice tonight against the righty in the hot ballpark over there in Texas. So this game is a huge cash game play for all bats. I can't stress that enough to you guys. If you have any other questions here, just throw them in the chat. Let's see. DeSclafani gives up a lot of steals, right? Yeah, he does. But like I said, that game is in some issues for rain tonight, so it might not be a great idea to pick from them. Plus, he's pitching against the Nationals, and they don't really have many base stealers to begin with. Trey Turner can steal some bags, but he's pretty highly priced. He's been really hot. Rendon doesn't really steal. Harper doesn't really steal. Adam Eaton could be an awesome play tonight if there is no rain. Definitely a cash game play at 2,900 over there leading off. So, especially with DeSclafani giving up steals. That Texas Heat, yep, Hot Arlington, definitely new nickname. I don't think so, but it's definitely a good DFS thing to look at when Arlington is hot and there's a lot of runs to be featured over there. So, I really, really like this Baltimore-Texas game tonight. Moving on into the Colorado at Milwaukee here, you got Junior Guerra against Yerman Marquis, and this game has a pretty good total too. There's expected to have some runs scored in this one, but there's not much to go from here based on value. I think these last 4 or 5 games here, we don't even know the lineups yet, so it makes for a tough prediction here. The Brewers lineup is actually out here. You got Yelich, Kane, Moustakas batting third. That's a pretty good spot. Shaw batting fifth tonight. I think he's in the second base spot. That's a pretty good play here. He's only 2,800. You got Shaw with the lefty-righty matchup. He's been hitting the ball pretty well. I'd say he's a great GPP play tonight just because he's got that power upside, the 20 homers, the 61 RBIs. I don't mind Shaw as a GPP play here. Even Lorenzo Cain leading off here, not a bad play. Carlos Gonzalez is in a pretty good spot, 2,600. He's got that power, the righty-lefty matchup here in the cleanup hole. I love that tonight. So Cargo makes for a pretty good GPP play as well. Any low-salaried guys in this game, Moustakas batting third, he's another good play at 3,300. Any low-salaried guys in a good batting order here in this game are definitely good GPP plays just because it's in Milwaukee. This game could feature a lot of runs, but there are better games out there tonight. Kansas City at Minnesota. Now, Odorizzi makes for a pretty decent GPP pitcher tonight. He's only 7,000. Vegas absolutely loves him tonight. He's a let's take a look, minus 205 favorite. Yes, I know the total's 9.5. He's probably going to give up a few runs, but if he can get that quality start in that win, he can get up high 20s, maybe even low 30s in fantasy points, and that's all we need from a guy who's 7K. Kansas City, with them, losing Kane over the offseason and now Moustakas, they're really not a good hitting team. You only have to worry about Whit Merrifield, Sal Perez, even Lucas Duda maybe. They're not a good hitting team. Odorizzi has shown that he can have really good games. He's also shown that he could have really bad games, making a good high-risk, high-reward kind of play tonight for GPPs. As you can see, he has a couple 40s in his game log, but he also has some single-digit and even negative fantasy points. So he can definitely get rocked. But he's a pretty good GPP play in my eyes tonight at 7K if you really want to spend down on a pitcher. As far as bats go, the Twins have a really good spot tonight against, Heath Fillmyer. He's a righty. Expect the Twins to score some good runs tonight, and there's some really good priced Twins out there. Eddie Rosario, 2,900 for a guy of his talents and how good of a year he's been having. 2,900 is an awesome price for him batting second. You could even look at Jorge Polanco, 2,600 batting third. Even Logan Forsythe batting fifth here. This Twins team is a really good GPP stack tonight just because of how low owned they are tonight. It's some good focus away from that Baltimore-Texas game just because that's such a chalk game. These Twins guys could be pretty low owned. Even Logan Morrison batting cleanup 2,500 and Joe Mauer batting leadoff. Like I said, this game is a 9.5 total, so the Twins are definitely expected to score some runs tonight, and they're all very, very cheap, so don't look past the Twins tonight, especially if you're making some tournament lineups. I don't hate them at all. I actually like the Brewers stack. Yeah, not a bad stack. Like I said, for GBPs, they're at home. They're in Milwaukee, obviously, like I just said, and their park is a great hitter's park. So and German Marquis could give up the long ball for sure. So there's some pretty good plays in that game as well. I like Minnesota. Moving on to this San Francisco-Arizona game. Corbin's in a pretty good spot tonight at 9,800. I don't mind him. More of a tournament play based on his salary, but he can have a great game, and the Giants don't really hit the ball this year. So I don't mind Corbin at home. Chris Stratton hasn't pitched a lot this year, so you can maybe look at some Diamondbacks here. I don't think their lineup's out yet. None of these late games are, which is pretty miserable. I hate that. But we'll have to see. David Peralta could be in a good spot tonight with the lefty-righty matchup. He's only 3,100. He's got the lefty-righty matchup. I think I just said that, but 3,100. He can be a good play here. He had a great game off the DL last night. He went 4 for 5, and he had a double, 15 points. He just had no one on base with those hits. He could easily duplicate things tonight. I like him at 3,100 for sure. As far as everyone else goes, it's tough to tell where these guys are going to be hitting, and it's just not that good of a game to pick from tonight. Detroit at Oakland. Brett Anderson against Blaine Hardy. You got two very bad left-handed pitchers in this game. You got a total of 9. The Athletics are a huge favorite, minus 194. You can maybe look at some Athletics righties for GPPs. Chris Davis is always a guy in play, even at 4,400. Depending on the lineup, Mark Canha could be a good play. I like Marcus Semien. He should be batting in the top of that lineup, only 3,100, the lefty-righty matchup. I like Nick Castellanos against the lefty and Brett Anderson. Castellanos should find himself batting second or third tonight. So there's definitely some good value plays in this game tonight. We got to just wait for lineups to come out. Toronto at Seattle. Marco Gonzalez has been low-key one of the most underrated pitchers this year. He's 9,200. He's against a pretty bad Blue Jays hitting team. He's a big favorite tonight, and he's absolutely on fire. If you look at his game log, he has over 40 fantasy points in his last 5 starts. You can't beat that consistency at 9,200. I don't mind it at all. He's at home. He's expected to get the win tonight. He's a pretty big favorite against Ryan Borucki. I think that's how you say his name. Not sure. Minus 180 favorite in an 8 total, so not that high of a total. He makes for a really good GPP play tonight, guys. I think Marco Gonzalez is going to go very overlooked tonight. No one really thinks about picking him, but the Blue Jays don't have many good right-handed bats. Gonzalez is a lefty, so I don't mind him at all. You got Smoke, the switch hitter. Gurriel is a righty, but he's on the DL. They really don't have any good righties to throw at Gonzalez tonight, so I definitely like him for GPPs tonight a lot. So don't look past him when thinking about a pitcher to pick in tournament lineups tonight. Then this last game, Houston at Los Angeles. There's no bats you should be picking in this game. It's a low total. You got Verlander. You got Wood, who can be great. No need to spend up on any Astros hitters. Verlander could even be a cash game play tonight. He's cheaper than DeGrom. He has no weather issues. I know the Dodgers just scored 90 million runs last night, but that doesn't say anything for me. Verlander could easily come into this game and absolutely stun the Dodgers and shut them out. He can really go off. If he's not a cash game play in your opinion, I think he is. You can throw him in some GPPs just because he has that upside of scoring 50 to 60 fantasy points. If he gets going early, he could really rack up those strikeouts. So I like Justin Verlander a lot tonight. I don't like Alex Wood. The Astros are a tough righty hitting team, so it's never good to pick a lefty against the Astros. As far as the Dodgers hitters go, you obviously don't want to pick them against Justin Verlander. So to sum things up, Baltimore at Texas is the cash game to pick from tonight. A ton of cash plays in that lineup. Chu, Gallo, Jonathan Villar, Tim Beckham. Those are all cash game plays. You got some good GPP stacks with Milwaukee tonight. You got Minnesota as a great GPP stack as well. And you got Tampa Bay as a great GPP stack also. You could even look at Pittsburgh with the low prices of Adam Frazier, Colin Moran over at third, batting fifth. He's got the lefty-righty matchup as well. So there's some pretty good GPP stacks tonight, but you really don't want to go outside of the Orioles-Rangers game when making your double-up lineups tonight. I would say basically fully stack that whole Rangers-Orioles game while picking a stud as a pitcher like DeGrom or Verlander, because the salaries of the hitters in that Orioles-Rangers game they're just so low and such great value that they allow you to spend up on a stud pitcher like DeGrom or Verlander. Like I said, just enter in that giveaway. There's only a few hours left. I'm announcing the winners at 8 o'clock. Retweet and like it to get a chance to win an NFL cash in GPP season. Can't wait for the NFL season to start up. I tried doing the preseason game last night, and it was an absolute shit show. It's just so hard to predict who's going to play and how many downs they're going to get. I had Justin Tucker, the Ravens kicker, and he ended up not even kicking. I mean, I thought out of any guy who's going to play in a preseason game and get their reps in, it would be the kicker. Why do you need to keep your kicker on the bench? Just the reason why I normally don't play preseason DFS. It's just a money hole. You have no idea who's going to play. Probably not going to continue to do any more preseason slates just because it's so difficult to choose who's going to play. But that was tonight's slate, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Drop a like, subscribe if you can. I would really appreciate that. And until next time, I am the FD Guru, and I am signing off.